and welcome to episode number 33 of Geeks Who Like Sports. As always, I am Ray Carcillo in Los Angeles, joined by my best buddy across the country, the other side in Philadelphia, Lee Elias. Lee, how's it going today? If you're watching the video, folks, he's got a nice little Boba Fett figurine there that looks fantastic. You can imagine what we're talking about today. Lee, how is it going?
Ray, it is officially Star Wars season. We've been teasing this for months. I've been waiting for it because we were in that dry spell of baseball and everything. And now it's here, Ray. And for the first time in a long time, I am not disappointed with what's been happening lately. I am very, very satisfied right now with the big picture. I'm really hoping the Rise of Skywalker doesn't ruin that. Yeah. To the other day, which has nothing to do with Star Wars, but I want everyone out there to know I saw Frozen 2 with my children and my wife. It's pretty good. But it's Star Wars season, Ray.
Yes.
And I'm excited to talk about it today.
Yes, Star Wars. Talking about Star Wars.
Speaking of songs, Ray.
Wars. Never let them end.
Songs,
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
We have to talk about this song. For those of you who don't know what I'm playing right now, this is the Mandalorian theme. But if you're listening to the show, I'm going to guess that you do know what this is, because if you don't know what this is, why are you listening to the show? Right? I'm just kidding. If you don't know what this is, you should continue to listen. Anyway, listen, I want to talk about The Mandalorian today, and this is going to be a spoiler episode, so turn it off if you haven't seen chapter 1, 2, or 3.
Yes.
But we have to talk about this theme song. I put this up on our chat board the other day because this show is so good that no one's talking about the music from it, which is phenomenal. It is completely taken over my feed on my phone, right? And it's just really awesome. So before we jump into the episode, I want you guys to know today we're talking about the Mandalorian theme because
dude, when that hits, I get so excited. It's just so good.
It's because somehow they figured out how to do Star Wars showing up on the screen without doing Star Wars showing up on the screen. It's that moment. Think about it. You're waiting for it.
Yeah.
Man, that theme is good. It is really good. We should also give credit to Ludwig Göransson. Hopefully I'm saying that right.
Yes. Isn't he the composer of Black Panther as well?
He is. He also composed the Creed movies and Central Intelligence with The Rock and Kevin Smith, a massive hit from 3 or 4 years ago. Somehow that gig turned into this for him. Dun, dun, dun,
yeah. I was going to say, we all got to start somewhere. Obviously, since then, I believe in Kevin Hart, by the way. I think, just phenomenal job there. The music is amazing.
It's really good. I think I said this too. I think it borrows heavily from other movies. I hear a little bit of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom in this song. I also hear a little bit of Rocky in the song with a little bit of the part of like Adrian's song from Rocky Balboa. People think I'm crazy, but I hear things in songs. So, for example, okay, I'm gonna go through it very quickly while we're doing it. All right, this part's just really dark and ominous and perfect, but there's a part here that comes up, and again, for those of you who don't know, this part right here, listen. That is very Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom is, that's Mandalorian, but it starts the same way. Yeah, so listen to that song if you haven't already. And then later in the song, it goes. That sounds a lot like. Anyway, I might be hearing things. I love it.
It's a great theme song. It sets the stage. It's not getting enough love. The Mandalorian overall though is getting a ton of love. Episode 3 came out this week, and this is the way. It's just absolutely. They find it's gotten progressively better. It's gotten And this episode was probably my favorite because we really get into a bit of the Mandalorian religion, the lore, what's important to them. And there's a key confrontation between a heavy assault Mandalorian, basically, with like a jetpack and a Gatling gun, and the regular Mandalorian. And they kind of have a bit of a standoff, and you realize that, again, and by the way, folks, as Lee mentioned, of course, spoilers. Episode 3.
Spoilers.
Yes, yeah, we're gonna be talking. We're talking a lot about episode 3 today. What ends up happening is the Mandalorian completes his mission. He gives Baby Yoda over to the Empire, or the Imperial Remnant. The client, played, of course, brilliantly still by Werner Herzog. And then, he gets this massive reward, which is all of these Beskar plates to basically...
Uncharacteristic question from a Mandalorian. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, the Mandalorian. You got they hint that obviously the Mandalorian feels bad about giving Baby Yoda over to the Empire, and so he kind of there's that moment of doubt. But then he gets the Beskar plates. He gets brand new shiny silver armor, which was just like this awesome moment when he steps out from the armor. The armorer's lair, and he's just completely badass, like all silver. But in the armorer's lair, when he's giving the Beskar plates over, there's other Mandalorians who gather around because they're Imperial stamped still. And obviously the Empire took over Mandalore, took over the Beskar mines, which is the only place for this rare metal in the galaxy. And basically there's a confrontation between the Mandalorians being like, you accepted Imperial, we shouldn't be helping the Empire. Look at what they did to our people. Look at what they did to our planet. And there's this real moment of tension, like, wow, the Mandalorian's truly on his own because his own people hate him. All the bounty hunters hate him because he completed this mission. And you kind of feel the isolation of our main character.
Brilliant.
It's awesome. It's just
brilliant writing.
Yeah.
It's an amazing way they've crafted these episodes. So what Ray's alluding to is the writing is brilliant. It was totally done to make us feel like he's going solo, pun intended.
Yeah.
And then obviously at the end of the episode, look, I'm being completely honest here. I haven't stood up in a Star Wars movie in a long time and cheered, like, out of pure excitement and joy. I mean, not controlled, not theatrical, like, could not control myself, just stand up, go, yes, yeah. Right? I mean, I did that in episode 3 because at the end of the episode, when the Mandalorian is completely surrounded, the entire Mandalorian covenant comes out of hiding to help their brother and let him escape. And it was, it's got to be a top 10 scene in Star Wars as of right now. It was unbelievable. I don't remember another moment in Star Wars like that. It was unbelievable. And then obviously the Mandalorian gets away, and now he's stolen back Baby Yoda, who I believe, I got to watch it again, but I think that the scientist refers to Baby Yoda as a she. I am pretty sure I heard him say that. She's still alive. I've double checked that. But I keep telling myself that I heard him say she, but who knows, right? So anyway, the Mandalorian gets away. What's cool about this show? A few things, right? One is this, right? People typically say the 3rd or the 4th episode of a show is when you kind of really unveil it, really gets going. Mm-hmm. And I want to compliment the writers because they've somehow managed to do that in this episode, but I didn't feel lost in the first 2 episodes. I felt really good about the first 2 episodes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But this really kind of turned the engine on full here, and you could feel it. I got to give credit to the writers. I got to give credit to Jon Favreau. I mean, you've really nailed Star Wars. You've really got it.
Yeah.
And again, no source material, but you're focusing on the right things, kind of the lore of the Jedi not being around, right? Which is, a lot of people don't remember that in this time period, which is shortly after Return of the Jedi, the Jedi have been quote unquote extinct for about 20, 30 years. You know what I mean? And they're very much forgotten. The Empire has really rid their kind of name and religion from the universe. So it's kind of a myth. That's why Rey says in The Force Awakens that, Luke Skywalker, I thought he was a myth. And a lot of people were like, well, how does she not know who he is? Well, it's not widely known. It's not widely known. You got to remember, he's one guy in the galaxy. Not like there's a thing that he saved the world twice. With Han Solo.
Even in those films with Luke rebuilding the Jedi Academy, like there's a dozen students maybe outside of Kylo, or Ben, I should say. Yeah.
Keep in mind too that if you want more proof, Han Solo says in A New Hope that hokey religions and tricks and all that. He doesn't believe in the Force. So you got to remember, in this time, the Force is not really a thing. That's why he doesn't know what Yoda is. He doesn't understand what happened with the him picking up the Longhorn thing, Mudhorn in episode 2. So it adds another element. But I also love that they're focusing on Beskar and the medals and the armor and the Mandalore and all of the story there. Also clearly ties back every time that he's getting new armor. There's a flashback to his childhood, in which we saw some.
We very clearly saw some battle droids.
Yes.
In this week's flashback
from the Clone War. So like this is going to tie into that. Very interested to see if there's any type of tie-in with Rise of Skywalker. We don't know. Like I don't know. Nobody knows. I know I'm just gonna see that movie the day it comes out, and you'll get a full review afterwards. But Mandalorian Chapter 3, The Sin. Best episode of the series so far. Easily. I know it's only 3 episodes in. Although the whole thing is unbelievable. And it is handcrafted for the Star Wars fan. We've been waiting for something like this for a long time.
Yeah, it's absolutely brilliantly done. And like Lee said, like the same thing. Mandalorian, he goes back, he kidnapped Baby Yoda. He takes Baby Yoda back from the Empire. Badass moment, taking out stormtroopers left and right. Single-handedly takes down the installation. But all the other bounty hunters, once the bounty becomes quote unquote reactive in that sense, swarm him, and you get again, and he's pinned down. You know, you get Carl Weathers' character. You get a lot from Carl Weathers' character in this one, which I really appreciated. But then there's that moment when you see. First of all, you see when he gets help, you have no idea. There's that brief instant of like, well, who's helping him? Who's shot? And then it's just all of the Mandalorians with their jetpacks just descending upon him, shooting him. The heavy assault guy. I mean, there's even a great moment at the end where like the heavy assault guy in his jetpack is like escorting his ship. I think it's called the Razor's Edge off, and he's just like, I gotta get me one of those. Kind of like hinting at, of course, one of the coolest things of Mandalorian bounty hunters since the days of Boba Fett are the jetpacks. But the Mandalorian doesn't have one. Maybe he'll get one.
Clearly needs one. Yeah.
Yes, for sure. But it was just a moment where, I mean, I think that, like you said, where the Mandalorians came to his aid because also in the end he did the right thing, and because they too have their own code of honor. Yeah. Right? They have this code of honor.
Left. In this time period, there's not many left, you can tell.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's basically, it feels like in terms of true Mandalorians, it feels like the couple of dozen that we saw within the Covent, and that's it. Like,
yeah, here's a few other things for you for those of you watching. So number one is there's a scene. I've actually rewatched every episode of this, which is not something I typically do with streaming. Which is something I did a lot with Star Wars growing up. I used to watch the movies over and over again. I'm finding myself watching these episodes over and over again. That's how I know. I'm not saying this for everybody listening, but that's how I know I'm really feeling it. You know what I mean? In the scene when the Mandalorian is on his ship and he's deciding whether or not to go get Baby Yoda, I gotta call this stuff out because I find this stuff fascinating. Really artistic decision. Now, if you watch this on your phone or you weren't like fully paying attention, you might have missed this moment. But I was watching this on my television, and there is a clear moment, and this is a choice where he's kind of contemplating, and as soon as he makes a decision, the screen comes into slightly more focus and turns a little bit blue. And I'm very curious about the decision to do that, if that was just metaphorical, if he's made the decision to head towards the light, or if that is a force thing, that maybe the force is taking over him a little bit. I don't know. I don't want to read too much into it. But if you watch that scene again, it's very clear if you're looking for it that the resolution on the screen changes to clarity, right? I thought that was unbelievable that they did that. Other thing we should note, as of right now, this is the most watched streaming show right now in the world.
Yeah.
And I said it, that all is right with the world once again. We millennials and boomers, Ray, can stop arguing. The left and the right politically can come together. Israel and the Palestinians that's not going to end anytime soon. Ray, we can be at peace again, knowing that Star Wars is back on top. We have nothing to fight about anymore. People, are you with me? This is all the back on top. So good. Star Wars, it's back at top. Rise of Skywalker. Don't screw this up for yourself.
It could very easily derail everything that's going on with Star Wars right now because, Well, first off, before I want to briefly touch upon it, there's been rumors. Kathleen Kennedy, who's basically kind of the head of LucasArts at this point. Now that George Lucas is gone, she's a Disney employee, but she's in charge of LucasArts. Her contract is up at 2021, and she's gone on record, kind of complaining, basically being like, "Well, without George, we don't know where to what to create or where to go," and like,
it's time to go.
And basically, and then everybody looks to Jon Favreau after he created The Mandalorian, and it's kind of like
the source material for that. Is it one of those picture books that comes out after every movie?
Exactly. It's just everybody kind of gets the sense that she's out of ideas, and that she might not be the person to continue guiding Star Wars in the future.
Out of ideas at Disney. It's not like George Lucas is dead.
Yeah.
All right. You can pick up the phone, and I'm sure he'd pick up to talk about his most beloved project of all time. Look, she's made some good decisions. She's made some bad decisions. I think there's a lot of things, though, people blame her for that are not directly her fault. It's the old sports analogy, right? Like, it's like when the team wins, it's always the previous GM that doesn't get the credit for it, the previous coach. So, like, I think she's made a lot of good decisions that get a bad rep. For example, like Star Wars Land is not doing too great right now. Or not as good as they said it would. It's going to do fine. It just needs time, and people will go there.
People are trying to avoid. I mean, it's their own fault. They basically were like, at first, don't come because it's going to be super crowded. So people stopped. So people didn't come, and now there's nobody there.
Yeah. That, and the other thing too is, like, Rise of Skywalker's not out yet. It wasn't Star Wars season. There's 100 reasons why, but I actually think that park's going to do really well through time.
Yeah.
I think the Mandalorian is going. I mean, it's saving. Not that it needs saving, but it's bringing the franchise back up. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
And the other thing, she greenlit that. You can't forget that. I mean, you can look at Jon Favreau, but she greenlit this. So she's done some good things. She's done some bad things. Keeping in mind too, she had to drive the ship through the transition from Lucas to Disney, which could not have been easy. But with that said, if you're asking my thoughts, it's probably time to go. All right, it's probably time to go. A lot of what happens with Rise of Skywalker is going to rely on this. I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see how the box office is for that movie. Box offices have been very, very, very volatile lately, with some massive surprises, although we knew they weren't going to be surprises, and some massive failures. And here's the thing. If it's awesome and people love it right away, it's going to do really well. All right, if you Last Jedi it, which I don't think is going to happen. J.J. Abrams knows what he's doing. Right, then it's gonna fail. And the thing with the movies, man, is I think they're just looking at the wrong thing. Like, why are they flopping? It's because people don't want to. I just, like Frozen 2. I said that at the top of the episode. It cost me over $60 to see that movie with my family.
We've talked about this before about the price of going to see a movie now is ridiculous. And
I want to do that.
Yeah, unless it's a tentpole event, people just don't want to go anymore. Like, I mean, like me, I went to the movies a couple weeks ago. I saw a movie called Jojo Rabbit, which
how was that?
It was good. It was good. It was a little predictable, but it was good. I mean, obviously, anything that makes fun of Nazis is a win in my book. So, I mean, it's obviously, if you're not familiar with Jojo Rabbit, it's a movie about basically a little boy who is in the Hitler Youth, whose imaginary best friend is actually Hitler, and it's kind of about while he's there, the fall of Germany around him, and his mom is actually like a resistance fighter, and it's kind of like how he comes to somebody there who was raised with all this propaganda coming out of it and kind of being like, oh no, Nazis are bad, we shouldn't be Nazis. Like, and it was fun, it was heartwarming, and they used this very serious, obviously extremely serious moment in history to tell what was actually a very fun and heartwarming tale of redemption and coming of age.
That was a very good review, Ray.
Thank you.
A coming of age story with Nazis. Lose in the end.
Yeah.
You have to say that. And
yes,
and
they lose. They lose badly.
Because the losers. Nazis are losers. Throughout history, losers. If you're Nazi and you're listening to the show, don't.
You're not welcome here.
Yeah, I almost said another choice word there. You know what I was thinking.
Yeah.
It started with F, ended in K, and UC's in the middle.
Yes.
So anyway,
so back to Star Wars. But yeah, see Jojo Rabbit if you get a chance. It was good, not great. But yeah, Star Wars, obviously, like Lee said, Kathleen Kennedy, ups and downs for sure. Obviously, people are going to blame her for Solo and all that other stuff, but obviously also Rogue One. Rise of Skywalker, I think, is going to very much decide her legacy if she does decide if she isn't brought back at the end of 2021. But we'll have to wait and see. Also with Star Wars, Lee and I have both begun playing Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Now I'm farther along than he is, but
I just felt like playing that again. So let's go ahead.
I'm enjoying it, but not as much as I think I could.
It's fair.
I feel like that they're building a nice foundation with this game, and that there could be. I'm trying to remain. This is our spoiler. We'll go a more in-depth look at Fallen Order later. But I feel that because obviously it takes a lot more time to beat a video game typically than it does to watch a movie.
We're not going to spoil the game. We're not going to spoil the game.
This episode. Yeah. But I feel that it's a little slow. I feel that there's a little bit too much gamification and not enough Star Wars in it.
Yeah.
And
how far into it are you, percentage-wise, do you think?
Oh, I've got to be at the halfway point at least.
So then here's my question to you: are they setting this up for sequels, or do you think were they thinking that when they made it, or is this a one-shot story?
I feel like this has to be a one-shot story.
Okay, well that's good. I think that's good because, like I said, I don't like it when games assume they're going to have to make more. Make a great game, and then if you want to make more, make another one. Unless it's The Force Unleashed 2, you shouldn't have made that game. But anyway, look, it starts out. It's a very intriguing story. Mm-hmm. Right. The complaints that I've heard about it is that there's a lot of a lull in it. Like I don't care. Can we move past this and get to the story? I do know that there's a mode in the beginning. I don't know what mode you picked, but it was like there's a story heavy mode, which like just move the story through the story as fast as possible type mode.
Yeah.
I did not select that. Yeah. I wonder if you do that, how fast it goes. But like I wanted a little bit of a challenge. I didn't want to just
Yeah, no, I put it on what you would. I would put it on what you would consider probably typically the normal mode, right? The story mode is the easy mode. I picked kind of the normal mode, the Jedi Knight mode, because I want to have some gameplay challenge. I want to be able to enjoy it as a game.
Yeah. That's what I did too. So we'll fill you in more as we go along with the game. Again, it's not earth breaking yet. Like it's not shattering. It hasn't made me. I mean, it's not bad. I'll put it that. It's not something I'm saying you shouldn't buy yet.
By all means, no.
It's a good Star Wars game, but it's just we got to see how it ends.
Yeah, it right now, if you're like halfway through, this feels like the bare minimum of what a Star Wars game should be. Like it's much better than the last two Battlefront games. It just feels much better. But it feels like obviously they're a little bit restricted by the time period. It takes place between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope.
Yeah, but it takes like right after. It's like 5 years after Revenge of the Sith, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. It's the Jedi. It's well after Order 66. The Jedi Purge has happened. The Emperor is well on his way to putting a stranglehold on the galaxy. But it definitely feels like there's something missing. Like there's just something missing that for me to really like, and I don't know what, I can't put my finger on it yet.
Do you think you're not buying into the character enough? Do you like you're not, because like when I played The Force Unleashed, like you buy into that character immediately. You feel for him. It's very Star Wars feely. Like I don't have I like the character in this game, but I don't feel connected to him quite just yet.
No, and I'm halfway through and I don't feel that either. Like I feel like, especially, I mean, and part of it is also I think the progression. Like I'm halfway through the game, and I think I finally have unlocked like the last of his Jedi powers, and they're not really that like these are Jedi powers he should have had from the very beginning. I'm sorry, like they're just like
well, and it's, again, I'm not combating you on that. The idea is that he was a Padawan when he was during the Purge, right? So like he hasn't fully realized his Force powers, so there is that. But like here's the thing, this game is very reminiscent of The Force Unleashed, and The Force Unleashed was all about these massive Force powers. They were epic, you know what I mean? It was awesome. And this game is not. It's not that at all. It's very much like you're becoming a Jedi slowly. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see where it goes. This is what I'd say. I'm not saying if you love Star Wars, buy it. If you're not sure, hold off a little bit. We'll let you know.
Yeah.
Like I think if you're a Star Wars fan, you probably should play this game. I mean, it's not bad by any means, right? At least what I've played so far. It's just not, game of the year yet. It'll be interesting to see how this does against the Avengers, Ray, because they're both going to be up for game of the year next year.
Yeah, well, actually, speaking of the Game Awards,
it was a transition for you.
Yes.
I did it.
Although, of course, Star Wars will be eligible for the DICE Awards, which, for those of you who don't know, the DICE Awards are held in every February in Vegas. It's Design, Innovate, Communicate, Entertain. That's what DICE stands for. It's basically the equivalent of the video game Oscars. They're voted on by the game industry, game developers, publishers. They vote very, very much like the Academy votes in Hollywood for the Oscars.
Better than the Oscars, though.
Yes, no, exactly. Driven. Yeah, for sure. Like, these game developers actually know what they're talking about. The thing is so like the Game Awards, the Jeff Keighley Game Awards, which are held every December, are trying to kind of, I guess, be like the Golden Globes. Like, those are press voted on. Those are, and he has a variety of press people from around the world. But the problem with these awards, and I'm very, very, and this is something I've had issue with for a long time, is the fact that they are held in December. So a lot of games end up missing the cut for that calendar year. Now, typically, because of where the dates fall, and the Game Awards are going to be December 12th this year on all streaming services and all systems. I'm sure you can go to a gaming website, and I'm sure they'll have the live stream. The problem is that a lot of games end up either being held back until the next year voting, like Smash Brothers is up for Game of the Year this year, even though it came out last December.
Stupid.
Or because of certain timelines, basically Pokemon and Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order are not going to be eligible for either next year or this year's awards because they fell in the middle of towards the end of voting for this year.
Yeah.
And supposedly, and I will say this, supposedly it has come out that Jeff did offer if the press wanted an extra week to play those games, he would have allowed it. But I guess the majority of press sites said no. We don't think Pokemon and Star Wars are going to be worthy of Game of the Year anyway. So Shame on those sites and shame on the press, the journalists out there. As somebody who came
lazy.
from, yes,
lazy.
Exactly. As somebody who came from that world, who was a game reviewer, who has reviewed over 550 games in his career, you lazy SOBs. You should have taken the extension and you should have played those 2 games, or at least had some people on your staff play those games, and those games should have been eligible, because now if they're not eligible for next year, it's if Jeff actually cares about this as an award show and actually wants these to be legit, he either needs to make sure he needs to have to either define the rules better so that it's December to December or whatever, or like at least Smash Brothers got eligible, or move the awards to January.
Well, can I chime in here, because
yes,
this is your industry, so I know how passionate you are about it, but I'm just gonna say it. Okay, and you can agree with me or disagree with me, that this award show is just a cash grab for the industry. They have no desire to care about how these games do. It's like, oh, look at all these games you forgot about that came out this year. Go buy them. Oh, by the way, they're on sale for Black Friday.
That's exactly
it's a cash
what this
grab.
is. Yep.
Yeah, they don't care. And the thing is, when you have it like that, I mean, why did the sites not want to do it? Because they're probably favoring these other game studios that are paying them more money to write reviews. All right, now, I'll say that. You might not want to say that.
Well, I mean, I never took money to get to do. I mean, obviously, I had my salary from my job.
You never took money, but the people in charge probably do. All right, and again, like I said, I mean, the very big people in charge. Again, you might not want to comment on this, Ray.
I mean, look,
I'm commenting on it. Right?
I will say this: I never my company. In fact, I cost my company a lot of money over the years because of the reviews I did. That's a fact.
So much.
Yeah. But I can't comment on the way other people are run. But to my knowledge, most reviewers don't take money from the companies. They obviously
not talking about the reviewers. That's what I'm trying to say. All right, I'm just saying. I don't want to make a conspiracy theory. I'm just saying, if it got close to the holidays and I was running a game studio and I wanted to sell my game, I would make sure that my game
No.
got in front of certain people. I
Well,
would do whatever I needed to do to make sure it was done.
no, that's the thing.
Including
And I was going to get that. I agree to you. This feels the fact that Jeff does these in December, the fact that there are certain awards and there are certain games highlighted, it completely feels like that the Game Awards lack legitimacy because they are exactly what you said. They're a cash grab. Yeah. It's the industry. One last chance. Hey, it's the middle of December. You still don't know what to get your kid for Christmas? Here are all these games that are on sale right now. If you use this code from the Game Awards that we're promoting right now.
Oh yeah. By the way, this one this award, this one that award, this one this award. You don't have it. It's a cash grab. It's clearly a cash grab. That's why the Dice Awards are better.
Yeah. No, for sure. The Dice Awards is an actual legit award show. The Game Awards is really a video game convention with under the guise of an award show. And the sad thing is that I really feel like I don't know. I expect better from the industry. I want better from the industry.
I think the Game Awards. Like, if I was, how do you think the developers feel? You spend all this time building a game and it just doesn't make the cutoff because people don't want to. I mean, that would, my God, that would make me so mad. Can you imagine if like the Cy Young winner was like, oh, well, you're pitching from this date to this date, don't count. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like, or any award.
If your starts in September don't count, I'm afraid. Where's the Cy?
Even though you won every one of them.
Yeah. Like, I mean, and the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because, like we mentioned, I am very passionate about this, and I love games, and I love the game industry. But the Game Awards, I feel like every year it hurts our legitimacy. Yeah, I think it hurts us. It hurts us more than it helps us. Maybe helps the financial bottom line, but.
Yeah, but you know what it does, dude? It looks like people are gonna have to buy into the stereotype that gamers are just lazy smokers, idiots, and that's not true. This industry is way, way beyond that. This is not the 1980s, early 90s anymore. Like it just enforces that stereotype, and it's a problem. People work really hard on these games. People take this stuff very seriously. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I think it's just lackluster, the fact that there's like a blackout period that doesn't make any sense when it comes to the awards. I mean, can you imagine if the Oscars did that? No, but sorry, the movies that came out during these 2 weeks in December, the biggest blockbuster 2 weeks, they don't count because we didn't get our stuff together. Sorry.
Yeah. No, exactly. I mean, it's just like you said, it's a shame because there are so many people in the games industry, like folks, they are some of the hardest working, best people you'll ever meet. They're working, especially when they call it the infamous now crunch time in games, where like for months people are working 80-hour weeks to try and hit that deadline. Like, I mean, they've proven it's unhealthy, and like a lot of companies are actually looking to change their practices because of how burnt out people are getting. But it's like, but they did it anyway for many years because they care, right? These people care so much about what they're working on, the product they're working on, and they're passionate, just as passionate as we are here talking about Star Wars or talking about games. They are just as passionate about their products. And the fact that the Game Awards kind of like poo-poos them and just kind of like, and some folks in the industry are like,
change.
Yeah, hopefully.
They will change. No, they will. They have to, because I mean we're seeing changes all over the board right now, whether people realize it or not. Speaking of change, is a bad transition, but I do want to talk about. Can I move on for a minute? Is that okay?
Yes. Yeah, we're good here. Yeah.
Okay. I want to talk about something with all of you that is bothering me, and I want to get everyone's opinion on this. But there is a lot of talk about a sequel to Joker, and I'm going to come out and say it. I think it is a horrendous idea for many reasons. So one is the rumor was that Joaquin Phoenix and the director are like definitely going to make a sequel, and that turned out to not be true. It was that they had mentioned a sequel kind of in passing at one point before the movie even came out. And I don't think they were being serious about it. And you love the press's way of taking that quote and making it something beyond what it is. Now, a few things, okay? One is you do not need a sequel to this movie. It does not need a sequel. Someone said to me, but I want to know what happens next. You already know what happens next. You already know what happens.
It's called Batman.
Yeah, I mean, they said that. I was like, are you kidding me? No, I want to know what happens to the Joker. You already know what happens next. Okay, number one.
God.
Number two is you're going to expect a movie that's just as good as that, over $1 billion in revenue, that film. And so much violence that didn't happen. All right? The press said was going to happen.
Yeah.
This is what you want. You're going to want The Godfather 2. All right? And I'm going to say this. I will say this. There is a very small wait. There's a very small chance that actually might happen. I will admit that. There is a very small chance that they might be able to come out with something that is better than the first. But it's rare. How rare? Name sequels that were better than the original or as good. You will not get to 10. And there's over a billion videos, films have been made. Okay? Yeah. It is very, very, very rare. Okay? Number two, I don't know where you want to go with this character, because what happens is this. If you go to another movie, it means you have to unveil more about the Joker. And that is a mistake. The beauty of the Joker is you don't know his origin story.
He's the unreliable narrator.
Yes, he is a choose-your-own-adventure character. You can't mess with that, okay? Yeah. And what are you going to explore? What do you explore? Like, I don't need another Batman origin film. I'll tell you that right now, okay? Yeah. Odds are they would go into maybe bringing in other villains, right? But, like, I don't need that. I don't want that. This movie was great. Leave it the frick alone.
Yeah.
Leave it the fleck alone. Leave the fleck alone. All right? Leave it alone. It doesn't need a sequel. Not all great films need sequels. I know we are living in the time of franchises and sequels. I know. This movie does not need a sequel. Please do not make it. With that said, I reserve the right to tell everybody that I was wrong if a sequel comes out and it's amazing. But I don't think that's going to happen.
No, of course, there's always that chance. But I mean, and this comes up again because of money. Right? Like there are people at DC, and it's probably the people at DC who didn't want this film to be made in the first place, who have now completely flip-flopped and are like, oh, we got to make this a franchise, because they want to attach their money now, their name now, to a success and try and make some more money, and it's going to probably be a disaster, and that's why DC typically fails.
You just reminded me too. The other idea that came out of this that I still don't want it, but I was like, you know what I mean? Like I might be persuaded, was that they were talking about doing other villain origins outside
in this vein. Like that's fair. Like, that's fine.
But I still wouldn't do it.
No, I wouldn't do it either. But at least that's a better idea than a straight up Joker 2.
Yeah, I just don't think that's a good idea either, because then it becomes like a monster movie, and it's just like, look, here's the thing. It's like, who are you gonna do, right?
The Riddler
story is not strong enough. The Penguin story is not. Well, the Penguin story is not good without Batman. No. All right. Who else? You're not gonna do Bane. You're not gonna do Ra's al Ghul. It's already been done.
Poison Ivy. Yeah, it's just
no way.
No. Yeah,
we got the Poison Ivy origin story. Nobody wanted to see that ever again.
Yeah. Right? No, I really think I think it's a bad idea.
There's no one I even care to know, if you think about that.
And again, and the bad thing is too, is that if they go forward with this and they call it the Joker verse or whatever it is that they're talking about, is that then you've got the Matt.
Don't ever say that again.
Then you've got the Matt Reeves Batman, and again, DC. You're at a time where you're supposed to be like having less universes, and now you're talking about creating another one. It's like your movie, your cinematic landscape is already so overly complex that you need to start killing some projects. And this is not and you should not be like, at best, you should make this Joker the Joker in Matt Reeves' Batman.
They won't.
They won't. Again, you should be consolidating universes,
you know why?
Not expanding.
You know why they can't do that? Because Batman cannot be rated R.
Yeah.
That's the problem, right? And you can't un-R rate this Joker.
Yeah.
So it's like that's the thing. Here's the other real question. Was this really a DC movie? Was it really a DC movie, or was it just a great movie using DC characters?
I think it was a great movie using DC characters. I mean, because again, there was a lot of folks at DC who didn't want this movie to be made.
That's like DC does. They're doing. Here's the thing. You also got to keep in mind the Joker is probably one of the top 5 villains in the history of villains. Mm-hmm. All right, we did ask this question before on the show. What are your top 5 all-time villains? I think the Joker makes most lists, along with Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Pre-Anakin Darth Vader.
Yes, original Vader.
Yes.
OG Vader.
All right. Yes, the real Vader, the one that murders people at the end of Rogue One. That's Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Not Anakin. Anyway, so yeah, leave it alone, please. By all that is holy in the DC universe, by Booster Gold's helmet, leave it alone. Don't touch it. Please don't touch that film.
This is Booster Gold coming back from the future, telling you don't make this movie.
Skeets is saying it. You did it. It was a bomb.
Yeah.
Right. There's just no need for it. Work on another project together. Go make something else, please.
Yeah.
Please
work on something else.
Good. Leave it alone, please.
Oh, stop ruining everything, DC. You guys suck.
Dry content, DC. Anyway, yes. So the Joker movie done. If you disagree with us, comment below. Do not comment. I want to know what happens next.
Yeah.
All right.
You know what happens.
You know what happens now. It is. Somebody said that to me. I just, oh my God. Okay.
Yeah, I saw that.
Unless there's a Mandalorian Joker crossover, now I can get into that.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
The team up that no one saw coming.
Yeah,
that'll happen when DC buys
a world
or Disney buys Warner Brothers.
In a world where crooked crooks and bounty hunters work together in a galaxy far, far away, a long time ago. Okay. All right. Should we transition to sports?
Yes, we'll roughly transition into sport.
Yeah, let's talk about balls, Ray.
Yes. So
balls.
all kinds of balls. We've got
lots of balls.
We've got we can start. You want to start with the XFL? You want to start with the XFL?
Start with the XFL. I want to tell people what I'm looking at right now, if that's okay. All right?
Yes.
I'm going to let you describe. So I'm looking at a poster here. It says this is not 1 XFL game ball. This is 8 XFL game balls. Sneeze. Hold on. Yeah. That was not part of the ad. I came out of it. And here's the funny thing. I don't know if you saw this. I'm going to let Ray describe what the deal is with the XFL balls in a minute. But underneath that, it says this is the XFL. And it says this period is period the XFL. And I've got to believe that that's a greenlit troll on Vince McMahon. It goes, this is the XFL. That's exactly how it's written. I'm serious. I'm looking at it right now. And I hope
very much
that yeah. But that's why we love the XFL. That's kind of why we love this, because they're not afraid to make fun of themselves. Okay, Ray, tell me about the 8 XFL game balls.
Yeah, so like Lee mentioned, we're the XFL. We're all on board for everything the XFL seems to be doing. And today they released a video showing how they're making the game balls, and that normally this would be a boring kind of idea. It's like, okay, yeah, it's footballs, but each team has their own customized balls for when they're playing at home. So each ball has the team is represented by the team colors on it. And I think this is actually a really ingenious idea to inject a little personality into the game. So like when it's the New York Guardians, it's got like some black and white edges. When it's the Renegades, it's got some blue in there. Like it's kind of just another way to inject more personality into these balls. They're also made with a better grip, so that these players can so everybody can catch and throw the ball easier. It's just. I'm on board with the XFL. I love the fact that there's going to be football in the spring, and I love the fact that these guys are basically taking little shots here or there at the NFL, being like, look, we're doing things differently. We're going to try, and without all of the headaches that the NFL causes on a weekly basis.
Well, and here's the cool thing. So there's a lot going on in the XFL. So I do want to say so I'll be like really uncensored here about my thoughts on this. So this is going to be a lower brand of football talent-wise as of right now, okay? And that's only because the best players go to the NFL. There's really no arguing that at this point. Now, with that said, the XFL is doing things to make sure that this product on the field is still exciting to watch, and that's really the key to this entire thing. I was joking before the episode that they have something on these balls called the X-Pebble grip technology. I was joking with Ray. That's because these guys probably can't catch the ball as well as the NFL guys, so they're giving them every advantage to make sure they catch the ball. right, and bring the ball in. But no, very unique. Obviously, this is also 8 products that you can buy. Like, it's another thing people aren't talking about. It's very smart branding for
smart
these.
Marketing.
Now you get your team ball, right? And they look really cool, right? There's just enough on them that it still looks like a football, but it's also just got that XFL flair, right? So very, very interesting. I mean, it's tough not to be excited about this. It's all going to come down to the gameplay. Is this exciting football to watch? Because the mistake with the original XFL is they had looser rules, but at the end of the day, the game wasn't that great. It just wasn't super fun to watch a game, right? So that's one of the things that they're trying to get away with here. The other thing I wanted to say is they just did a lot of their draft not too long ago, and this is what I'm excited to see. Colleges some of these players are coming from. Colorado, Fresno State, Mississippi State, Northwestern, Southern Utah, Rice, Maryland, West Virginia, UCLA, Syracuse, Louisiana State, Western Michigan, Stanford, North Dakota, Pittsburgh. So they're getting these kind of like second class of Division I players, which is good. Because like I said, I think last time they relied a little bit too much on kind of the guys that just like didn't make the NFL. There was a draft. I mean, these are guys that are excited to play.
Draft, and then there was a supplemental draft, and like you have like you have some guys who played in the NFL who are now are taking a second shot at this with the XFL. Like,
and like I said, there's a lot of cool buzz here about it. And like I said, if we know anything from the NFL, like sometimes these late draft picks, you never know. These are guys that didn't get a chance. And again, quarterbacks are assigned in this league. That's the other cool thing about it is like, to my knowledge, you're not drafting quarterbacks; they're being given one.
Each team gets a quarter. Yeah. You can draft more quarterbacks, but every team gets a quarterback.
Yeah. Not to mention the marketing is nuts. If you go to the Twitter pages for any of the teams or the actual page itself, they're just showing these athletes, giving you a reason to be excited. And as Ray said, the way the NFL is going right now, and I love the NFL. I love football, but it's just killing me every week. Is something else every week. So it's like just the timing on this is perfect. The marketing on it is exciting. I think we're all going into it a little bit too with, like one of the smart part, I said this at the beginning of this part, is that they're not afraid to make fun of themselves. Like they know they've been here before. You kind of know what the aura is around the game. They're just primed up. Like no one's taking it too seriously this time, if that makes sense. At least from my estimation, like it's very much a, hey, let's check it out. Like last time it was, what's this going to be? What's it going to be? Like this, let's check it out. The NFL's pissing me off every freaking week.
Yes.
I could use something else. And check it out on XFL.com if you don't. They have all the balls there. It's right on the homepage. Brilliant marketing. Great job, XFL. Please don't suck.
No, it's true.
Please don't suck.
Yeah, they're doing it much smarter this week. And speaking of bad NFL play, let's talk about the NFL this week. The quote unquote America's game of the week was Cowboys Patriots. The refs basically gave the game to the Patriots with a flurry of penalties called against the Cowboys that were phantom calls, 2 tripping calls, a phantom hold. It's mind-boggling. I mean, look, every referee, you miss a call. It happens. It's the human element. It sucks, but it's there. But when you miss 3 calls in a half against the same team, it's a bad look, and it just seems to be that the NFL every week is looking for new ways to look bad.
I do have to say this, as much as it pains me, that you have to remember that Ray and I are Giants and Eagles fans.
Oh,
so
we hate the Cowboys.
Is the Cowboys win. That's the last. And listen, Giants fans, disagree with me, that's fine. But there's no way you want the Patriots to win or to lose more than the Cowboys lose. You want the Cowboys to lose, okay? That's just the way it is in the NFC East. All right? But like we're talking about the Cowboys getting screwed as Eagles and Giants fans. It's not because we hate the Patriots. We beat the Patriots.
Yeah,
in fact, we're the only 2 teams to beat the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
3 times.
Yeah.
You lost. Yes, I know it's irrelevant to what we're talking about, but it feels good to say it. I know you won a lot. Envious. Okay, shut up and give it. Anyway, all right. Cowboys lost. Now, here's the thing. Let's just switch out because there's a horribly called game. What this does do is make the NFC least very, very interesting between the Cowboys and the Eagles now. The Patriots, who somehow slipped by the Eagles and the Patriots with only 13 points, which is unbelievable when you think about it.
The Patriots scored a total of 30 points between the two games, but they only gave up 19.
Which is okay. A testament to the Pats defense, the best defense in the league. Not trying to take away from that, number one. But number two is, like, you should beat the Pats when you hold them to that many points, and the Eagles and the Cowboys just couldn't get it. But what this does now is it pretty much makes it where, the next game between the Cowboys and the Eagles may decide the division. And now people think, well, the Eagles are playing really bad. They lost to the Seahawks yesterday, and it was a horrendous game. Here's the deal. And this is just on paper. I know anything can happen on any given Sunday. But the Eagles have an unbelievably easy schedule here for the rest of the season.
The Eagles have the softest remaining schedule of any team in the NFC. And because they play in their last 5 games 4 2-9 teams, including the Giants twice.
Yes. It is. I'm not going to say it's the Eagles' division to lose because the Cowboys are on top right now, and we do play the Cowboys again.
Yes, that is the game that could decide everything.
Right? And I never tempt fate in the sense of this. Like, the Cowboys have that division right now in terms of they're in the lead. I'm not going to tempt fate by saying anything because that's just the way it is right now. Okay.
And that's the difference in the division right now is the game that the Cowboys and Eagles game from earlier in the year.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the thing is that neither of these teams, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with Dallas this week against Buffalo, by the way. Yeah. Dallas plays Buffalo on Thanksgiving. That is a game that both teams are looking to make a statement. The Cowboys don't like to lose on Thanksgiving, obviously. The Cowboys have not beaten a team that has a above 500 record this entire year.
Yeah. Now, listen, this is the Cowboys schedule: Bills, Bears, Rams, Birds, Redskins. Okay, and I can tell you right now, Redskins is the only game in there that's should be a guaranteed win, right?
Yeah.
Would you agree with that? I mean, you should beat the Bears too.
They should beat the Bears, but the Bears have a very good defense. You never know what's going to happen. The Bears are also 5-6.
Yes.
But I think the Cowboys beat the Bears. They obviously beat the Skins.
Yeah.
But the Rams and the Bills, those are 2 games that are going to be very, very tough for them.
Yeah.
Again, maybe the benefit of the short week.
The division. They will that and the Eagles. So here's the thing. This is the Eagles schedules: Dolphins, Giants, Redskins, Cowboys, Giants. Which is, again, they're games to lose. I'm going to put it that way. So Ray, this brings me to a very interesting point in the season for the Eagles, where I need to look into the camera and say, Nick Foles, we need you to come back to Philadelphia. This is what you're built for. Okay, you got a really great rest in Jacksonville. It's time to come back to the Birds. We need you to do whatever it is that you do. I don't know what football gods you pray to. Don't really want to know. Okay, but I need Big D Nick back here right now. Okay, to just do what you do. Okay. Now we're looking kind of dumb for letting him go. And I wasn't a supporter of him leaving, but I did say that, like, no, this is Wentz's team and we gotta let him go. But yeah, everybody's blaming Wentz for everything. I gotta say this. I'm getting a little annoyed with it. He's not playing great. I'm not sitting here and telling you that Carson Wentz is playing great. I am telling you we don't really have any receivers right now that are really doing anything to help Carson Wentz.
It's a variety of factors. Yeah.
Yeah, I refuse to blame our quarterback for all the troubles that the Eagles are having. And with that said, our defense looks amazing right now. Our defense
now that you've gotten healthy, your defense looks great. Your corners are back. But I have to say, I mean, since his back injury, Wentz post-injury did not look as good as Wentz pre-injury. He hasn't looked the past season.
Knee injury. I think it was torn ACL, MC, whatever. I think that was the injury that kind of shook him up because that's what forced him to miss the Super Bowl.
Right.
The back injury sucks too. Yeah, so it'll be really interesting. But like somehow this division is wide open. It's just
it's a two-team race, and it's going to come down to the end.
This is the thing. All 4 teams are like, we suck. We suck so much. Jerry Jones comes out yesterday like, I shouldn't be this frustrated. I'm like, dude, we just got was that week 12? We just got done week 12. And we're all 4 teams hate their team. It's amazing to me.
Yeah.
It's amazing. But that's the NFC East, man. That's it. No one can hate our teams more than us.
That's very true.
And I'll tell you what, this is the other thing. Everybody else in the NFL is going, well, whoever comes out of there is going to lose. Don't be so sure. Like, don't be so sure. Like,
having to go down to Dallas or go down to Philadelphia in the first round of the playoffs, even though right now in the wild cards, Seattle and Minnesota look like very strong teams. You don't want to have to go down to Dallas in the first round or to Philadelphia in the first.
And you're gonna have to.
Yeah, if they didn't win the division, yeah. No, it's
listen,
very, very true.
NFL playoffs are all about timing. It's all about timing. You got to be peaking and playing your best football at the right time. And if you're not doing that, you probably are not going to go far. The Eagles won the Super Bowl because they peaked at the exact right moment, at the exact right time against the exact right teams. Same thing with the Giants, both Super Bowls.
Yep.
All right. Same thing with the Pats. They just know how to do it. All right. Pats are just the best.
The Pats are always peaking.
Yeah. Okay. That's actually a really good statement. Don't tell it to many people. If you're listening in Boston, don't put that on a T-shirt without giving us credit.
Yes.
Okay. All right, because we will find you. Okay.
Yes.
But yeah.
Look, I'm very poor. I could use some extra money.
Yeah. I want to say this again, though. We talk about the NFL all the time because we love the NFL. Okay. Everybody who listens to this knows me. You know I'm a hockey guy, but don't be mistaken. I really love football. I mean, I've always loved it. All right. It's like the only sport I can still be a fan of where I'm not actively watching a game, thinking of tactics and everything that would be going on in the game, right? Although I do that a little bit, but you know what I mean. Yeah. Please, all right? Or XFL, if you're listening, please be good. Please, I'm begging you to be good. We want to have fun. I want to be cheering. I want a team in Philadelphia if it's good. If not, stay away from my city. Anyway, Ray, we should transition into the mashup now. We got a good mashup today.
We should transition into the mashup, but I also I want to talk more football very briefly.
No, go ahead.
Very briefly.
You've got 32 seconds. That's how many teams are in the NFL. Did you see what I did there?
Yes, I know. Very briefly. Crazy day in the AFC. The Raiders got killed by the Jets. The Steelers somehow have won. And now the Steelers are the sixth seed in the AFC. You have 4 teams tied at 6-5 for that last AFC playoff spot. So that's very fascinating to me. The NFC is basically locked up. The only question is going to be who wins the NFC least. Speaking of Nick Foles, he got destroyed yesterday in Tennessee with Jacksonville. They lost by 22. Tennessee, now, again, you don't know what you're going to get with that team, but also one of those 4 teams tied for the last playoff spot. And tonight, the Rams play the Ravens. Critical game for both teams. Ravens trying to keep pace with New England. Rams trying to pull within a game of the Minnesota Vikings, who are on a bye week. Now we can go into the mashup, because we were talking about the XFL. We were talking about their new balls.
No. We were talking about the XFL.
Yes.
We got to do that until it's out. May that never die. What is dead will never die.
Yeah. In the XFL.
So no, you got to really pronounce the L. Okay. Right. Our good friend Ray Santiago, who listens to the show, he does that better than any human being playing on the planet. He just loves to say the word Al. What's your name? Kal-El. They should do that in Superman. What's your name? I'm Kal-El. Okay, I've overdone the joke. The mashup for today. XFL has new balls out. It's got great new technology. They look phenomenal. Brilliant marketing. So, mashup today. What sports league, or leagues, because we're going to talk about more than one, need a new ball, puck, playing apparatus? Okay? And Ray, we can get creative here about what it can do and why we think that. So I'm going to turn it over to you right now, Ray. For no reason, go.
Well, obviously, I think the big one is baseball, because after they had new balls this year that were super juiced in the regular season to have more home runs than ever before, it's clear they need something. They need some consistency, because also it looked like the balls in the postseason were anything but juiced. So how about some consistency out of baseball? And let's just have a regular old school baseball that isn't juiced, isn't messed with. Go back to the original formula of how you made a baseball, and let's just have baseball the way it should be and the way it used to be. And maybe we can get away from all these ridiculous 3-run home runs.
You just want a ball with seams?
Yes. Actually, I would love to see that. I would love it if you could do the old school spitball still, or like you could mess with the laces and stuff.
Okay, all right. Well, that's not a new ball, but I'll give you that. Sometimes what's sold is new. Here's one for you. I'm gonna go to hockey, obviously. I don't understand why we don't have a more high tech puck. Now the NHL has actually introduced that in this season, but it's largely stuff that you can't see. So the new puck takes a lot of information in. There's actually a chip inside of it, but we haven't really seen anything with that. It's just a lot more of tracking and things team can use to see like zone possession. These are the things that I want to know. Now, again, we have this debate all the time on Geeks Who Like Sports about it. What is a call that should be left to the interpretation of the referee or the official versus something that's like, no, that should be 100%. Like the strike zone is obviously the never-ending debate of is that part of the game that you can miss a strike or should that be eradicated? One thing in hockey that I really just don't understand is we clearly live in a time period where you could put something on the goal line and something in the puck to let you know when the puck has completely crossed the goal line. Because I think it's just ridiculous that we still have to wait 10 minutes to figure this out sometimes. There really should just be an ability to know if it's over the goal line, it's over the goal line. Now, listen, yes, there are still going to be controversial calls with that about the technology working or not, but it's going to be so much less. I mean, if it's in the net, guys, it's in the net. Same thing with football. If it crosses the plane, all right, it crosses the plane. Like we talked about this last week. There was a call in Philadelphia where the ball was clearly a touchdown, and they wasted 15 minutes of my life trying to figure out whether or not it was. All right. In hockey, this is unless the net's off, this is a pretty black and white thing, and I don't think any fan in hockey would say, oh no, it's really to the Toronto and the ref's discretion of whether or not it went over the line. No, if the puck's in the net, the puck's in the net. All right. Like same thing with basketball. If it's in the hoop, it's in the hoop. Right? There's never been an overturning of a basket in basketball of whether it went in or not, right? It's never happened, right? It's only with a clock violation, which the NHL also has a thing with. But yeah, I think that's one thing you could do. It's a very simple thing. And I'm not trying to add anything else to the puck. I don't need radar and lines flying off it when it goes over 70 miles per hour. I'm just saying, if it's in the net, it's in the net. It's time to update that. There's no reason that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's true. And like you said, same thing in football. The fact that we haven't had sensors placed in the balls yet to allow us that we know exactly when the touchdown is scored or when a goal happens, it's kind of ridiculous. I mean, you could do, and you have all these cameras around the net. It's like, well, if you place it together from this angle and this angle, it's like, no. Yeah. We had the technology. Just implement it.
We can make it smarter. Make it a smarter puck. You put everything else in that puck but that. Yeah, I don't understand what we're arguing. With that said, too, the XFL with the marketing of the balls is brilliant. Not the first sport to market their playing apparatus. Obviously, NHL, all pucks are marketed in the NHL. They all have the name of the home team on them. I'm saying that as a backup to hockey because the XFL clearly borrowed from hockey. All right. Basketball, I don't believe does that. I know basketball did try and change their ball at one point, and it failed miserably.
See, I think that's something that I think that's one sport that could definitely use it. I think the idea of a team ball in basketball works, or even something like a variety of for different events, I don't know, have a red, white, and blue American, like a USA ball or something. I mean,
a ball. They did that. I know the NBA tried to change the ball a few years back, and I believe the issue was the guys couldn't grip the ball as well. All right, or something like that.
You have the same grip. You still get Spalding to make the ball. You just make it different colors or something.
Yeah. So sorry. What Ray is saying, you agree. Like the grip change was a problem, but what we're saying is you could definitely
the cosmetic change. I'm asking for a cosmetic change in basketball.
Yeah. Now I do want to be very specific here. I'm not talking about branding the ball with advertisements. It's the home team that name should be on the ball because it's a keepsake. You want to take that home. It's funny because I don't ever buy. I have Flyers pucks here, but I don't buy footballs with the Eagles logo on them because that's not the real football, unless it's signed or something. You know what I mean? I don't just buy that for fun, right? So it would be interesting if they could do something like that. By the way, we didn't talk about this real quick with the XFL with their balls, but that's also a brilliant troll job by the XFL to the NFL, who've had all their problems with the balls. It's just no, each team is gonna have their own ball, you know what I mean? They're addressing those issues. Pretty brilliantly, right? And very trolly and very sarcastically. It's almost like they learned from the national election, kind of how to tap into people. But brilliant. We're running out of time. We're not going to talk about Colin Kaepernick today because we did a lot last week. All you need to know about the news is that not one of the 32 NFL teams have contacted him, thus proving that this was a publicity stunt and nobody bought it. Probably will hurt his brand. We'll see, but that's a topic for another day.
Yeah.
NHL fixture pucks. See, I ended it on a happy note.
Yeah. Yes. So as always, thank you everybody for listening. Again, email us geekswholikesports@gmail.com. Obviously, follow us on all the social medias. Share the podcast. Listen to us on everywhere podcasts are heard. Geeks Who Like Sports.
Better time this well, man. You better time this well.
You should have started it sooner, Lee.
No. This is a challenge. I'm challenging you. Come on. You got like 20 seconds to make this work.
Oh, okay. So thank you everybody again for listening. As always, we're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of our geekswholikesports.com. Feel free to share, free to invite people to the group. Let's really try and grow this thing and make it better and bigger, and let's keep Geeks Who Like Sports going. And for Lee, I'm Ray. Thank you all so much for listening. We really, really appreciate it, and we will see you next week for more Geeks Who Like Sports. Yeah!
That was brilliant, buddy. 5,000 experience points and a level up.
Awesome.
That was well done, Ray. That was well done. Have
Thank
a good
you.
week, everyone.
Yes. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.